Hello, welcome to our very first semifinals cast for the Spy Party's Masters Championship. My name is Sped Monkey, and I'm joined here on casting duties by Po Noob,
Howdy.
and we have Wrestler here as our host for today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Of course, thank you for hosting us. So, for those of you who've been following along religiously, we have had several weeks of competition from the very best players in the Spy Party community over the past year. We've been through the championship stage where players could play into the bracket. We've gotten through the round robins here for the champion stage. And now we have our four semifinalists. Every player at this point is guaranteed at least $100 in prize money. And uh, yeah, we have seen some incredible play to this point.
Yeah, the winner of today's game, most importantly, gives themselves a win $1,000, but minimal $400 is gonna be a ridiculous boon for anybody. The third and fourth place are not chump change. This is gonna be the most money that we've seen for a competitive spy party win when it comes down to it. Our two players today are gonna be Opiwrites and Rav. And honestly, this could have been the finals.
Yeah, I mean, just by the way it worked out, Opie and the two groups kind of had very different themes, with the bottom group that Rav came out of being sort of like the new batch of young guns, whereas the top one with where Opie finished first out of was a bit more of sort of the veterans bracket. So we've ended up having we haven't really seen this sort of clash of styles yet that we are probably going to see here in the semis as these two groups finally face off.
Yeah, with Rob, he came out second out of the group, which was a bit surprising. Rob has definitely been the hottest player and in some people's mind the best player in Spy Party for at least a little bit. Had a huge streak going on here prior to the SMC bracket, but it was beat by Nebula 7-9. Nebula has also made it into these final four. Looking at the stats there, it's first place in Summer Cup, first place in Champion, and he's looking to add, or SEL, he's looking to add a first place in SMC to that list.
Yeah, so let's look at just a quick replay here from Rav and talk about sort of what we can expect to see in this match. Um, Here, this is from his match against Legorv, and this is Rav on the sniper side. Now, I have this clip here to highlight sort of Rav's a couple things. So first of all, the context is important because, as those who've been following along know, prior to this match, no player who was down at halftime had come out of it and actually ended up winning their set. So Rav had come out of halftime here down 3-5, and going up against Legorov, who already had a bunch of very strong plays on the spy side to earn him some wins. We have Rav here choosing to fake a delegate coming off of that banana bread, and Rav just tracking this the whole way because, of course, Pub being 3 of 7 Pub being a very sort of uh, venue where you can't really camp it the whole way. And this really shows Rov's ability to not just play with camping, but also intuitively. And here you can see no hesitation whatsoever on that shot. The shot just comes off without any hesitation at all. Rov not even paying any attention whatsoever to that attempted frame and just taking the correct shot immediately. And I think that really shows that his sort of growth as a sniper over time.
I would argue that the growth that we've seen from Rob, both on the spy and sniper, is just this intuitiveness. It's straightforward enough to just try and shoot for missions, shoot for camping, but the extra spark that comes, the extra few percentage that you get from just having that instinct and listening to it has been why Rob has been so intimidating.
Yep, of course, that takes us to Opiwrites, the opponent who really didn't have as great of a year as probably he would have hoped. No big wins coming out in anything. Third place in Winter Cup, second place in Mix and Match, third place in Golden Gold, and a disappointing finish in Summer Cup as well. But credit to Opie, he's really put in a lot of work since Summer Cup ended, and his results in the round robin really showed that. Going a perfect 3-0 with 11-5 versus Lazy Bear, 10-6 versus Mini, and 9-7 versus Sauerkraut.
Yeah, Opiwrites, even prior to this year and what you can see on screen, has had a lot of second place finishes. He did beat that demon previously. Opiwrites has been one of the most winning historically players just ever. Rov kind of being the player who took his throne, if you will. And now with the 3-0, there's only two players who did that. We had Nebula on the other side. Opiwrites comes in as the one seed and gets rewarded with Rov, which is just a very rude reward to have. That's coal in your Christmas.
Well, it's not like there are any easy matchups here coming out, but take a look at this clip from Opiwrites as well. We started off with a clip of Rob playing Sniper. Here we have Opiwrites playing Spy. Um, and this really just highlights, first of all, it's Ballroom, of course, because an OP clip has to be on Ballroom. We wouldn't have it any other way. But this clip in general just sort of highlights OP's aggressiveness. I mean, that's sort of the trademark that he's created. That and his very high green test rate. You can see it right there with the green purloin. And from here, he immediately uh, walks away. He already has a microfilm in pocket. And while this list is bouncing around, OP writes from here is going to immediately go to this other bookshelf after picking up this flirt and is just going to get mission progress done. Really just keeping pedal to the metal as the purloin pens. And while in this match, the sniper's looking at the list, and as it's finally taken here, Opie, while despite being having the angle for the sniper to see, just does the microfilm animation anyway, gets that done, and from here it's just a very simple banana bread to win this game. Um, and I mean, this is Opie's bread and butter as well. This sort of aggressive spy style, forcing the sniper to find the right shot, and really just putting the pressure on in all phases of the game.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about having an aggressive spy style, and I think what's done Obi well over time and perhaps moving into this set, is when you get into these high pressure games, and this is going to be as much money, as much prestige as you're going to get from any particular match. Spies often slow down, but if Opie Wright slows down, he goes from being a fast spy to an average spy. If Rov slows down, it goes from an average spy to a slow spy. And fast and average are fine, like a standard is fine. Slow is not okay. You're not going to be winning spy games if you are slow. Obi Wright is never going to be slow. He's too prepared and too mentally ready to go quickly.
All right. Well, I think we have our draft here. So let's take a look real quick. Um, we have Opie winning the coin flip. So Opie is going to be spying first by choice. Opie is banning aquarium. Rav bans balcony. Opie restricts veranda. Rav restricts high rise. OP doubles ballroom, Rav doubles gallery, OP doubles pub, Rav doubles redwoods, and then OP is going to single modern, and Rav will finish it out by singling veranda. Now you may notice that unlike the prior matches, which have been best of 16, this is best of 20. So there's two doubles for each player and just one single. And as a best of 20, now that this is no longer the round robin, first to 11 will just take it outright. So we're not going to be playing all 20, assuming that one player gets there first.
Yeah, this is for all the money. And looking at the picks and bans, not too surprising. Opie Wright's picking ballroom, Rov picking gallery. These are pretty expected. I think when it comes down to these two, we need to talk about action rates. They've been hitting their green tests so often. I think these two players might be the two best players at action tests if you look at the stats. And we do have 3 bar venues and 3 non-bar venues. It's going to be early in gallery and ballroom, these first doubles, where we might see purloins, and it might come down to a green versus a white test.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a fair assumption. I bet we'll also see a lot of microfilm focus from both of these spies moving forward, especially in ballroom and gallery. Um, but okay, we have our players discussed. We have our draft. Shall we get to our predictions?
I I'm gonna be wrong, and it will give OP power. But I'll say Rov 11-6.
Wow. All right. You want to give any justification to that, or you just rolling?
Yeah, so this is an attempt to make OP more powerful. When OP wins this, and he watches the stream back, because he will always do that, he will see that I have been so rude to not even give him an 11-9 Rov, to give him an 11-6, and it will power him into the final. But in reality, I think Rov is generally the stronger player, and I think there's definitely a chance that somebody runs away with this game. I think 11-6 either direction is actually potentially more likely than it going into those sort of like overtime situations. I think this might be a situation where, especially with the length of the set, one player might just have more stamina, more willpower. And I'm gonna go with Rob, but I genuinely would not be surprised if OP wins with a similar sort of scoreline.
Well, it's funny you should say that because my prediction was going to be OP 11-7. Um, and part of that, of course, like no disrespect to Rob whatsoever, of course, because Rob is terrifying and I would never want to play him in a match like this for with any stakes whatsoever or even without stakes. But I think that OP has just shown better results lately. I mean, Rob has had a couple disappointing losses. Not that losing to Nebula is disappointing for anybody, but Rob also kind of had just got surprised in summer. What did we just have? Summer Cup, with an early exit there, and that was sort of the first chink in his armor he's shown all year. Whereas OP has just shown been on the grind and has shown really good results throughout the round robin. So I'm going to give this to OP, but as you say, it would not shock me to see either player take this, and really with any scoreline whatsoever.
Let's bring out our host
Yes,
with
so
the
the
most.
host,
Wrestler,
yes,
what's up?
so in I do agree with both of your points, but the main deciding factor, at least for me, at least historically, that Rav has had OP's number for quite a past few games, both in SEL and other tournaments. So unfortunately for OP, I'm gonna have to predict Rav, and it's gonna be 11-8.
I'm
Not
a bit
even
sad none of us went with the overtime. We don't even want to humor you guys with what the overtime rules are, because it's 20 plus games away. But
Yeah, we'll
I
get there
mean,
if we get there. Don't worry. I have the rules. We'll talk about it if we need them. But for right now, I think the players are ready. If you gentlemen want to get into this.
let's do this. I can count us in. It's gonna be ballroom here, OP's pick, and let's get it started in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
Yep. OP starting things off as Salmon. OP definitely one of the players who thinks that Salmon is maybe a better spy pick than others do, which is
Yeah,
sort of
I'm under the same impression. I think Salmon has very little going for him. If you're like looking for this character is small or this character has a good bug, those sort of like main things we look for on a particularly good character. But I've sniped a lot of games and Salmon is the one that gets away with murder the most. He just kind of blends in. This like light Salmon just on most venues just kind of fades into the background, and it's pretty important if you're going to be doing these sort of like quick flirts to fade into the background. You do not want to early highlight for either of these players, in this case against Rob or OB, but Rob this case.
yeah. OP starting things off here, not going with the full pedal to the metal like we're used to seeing, and starting things off with a white action test as well. I don't know if that's nerves showing up already, but either way, this is already an uncharacteristically slow start for Opiwrites here on Ballroom.
A lot of people in conversations, which doesn't result in like many extra highlights. You do want, as a spy, people to be going to statues, even if you're completing or not. But it does line up for a potentially good banana bread here in a moment.
Yeah, a
Just
second
kidding.
a second white flirt. And unfortunately, we don't have a double agent here. The double agent is just off briefcasing, as OP pans the camera over to keep an eye on both her and the ambassador. But OP Wright's just taking his time. I thought we were going to maybe see a timer flirt, but no. Instead, we're going to window, and we're getting a green time ad.
He's been so good at catching time ads recently. It's really been one thing that he's improved on. It was the only thing I was able when I played him years ago to abuse. And not taking the bug here, that's very un-OP like. OP Writes is very likely to just click the button when given a good opportunity, and that felt like a good opportunity. With the shake of the camera, I think OP Writes might actually regretted the decision to not do so. Maybe wasn't just on his toes enough.
Well, we got bailed on by our selection target as we tried to flirt, so I think that's what that was all about. So we're just gonna go force this and finish it up. So down to a minute 50 on the spy clock. We have one mission done, nothing else. We're in the conversation circle with the double agent though, and I would expect that Opie will take advantage of this and just take this banana bread before we leave.
I think it's a bit of a pick if we lose Orange. Sorry, if she comes in here now, this banana bread's looking even better. She does not. I think you gotta take this if you're looking to complete missions, and with the time ad, we're kind
We
of
are
implying that we
gulping.
do.
We just gulped our drink, and with the trade coming around, if Alice rejects,
Banana bread.
here's the banana bread. We might just be going for a
So good.
purloin. It's a white test. It's a white purloin. Is Rob
Toby should
available?
go and run away at least.
We should, but
Yeah.
we don't. We just stand here in place, and suddenly we have 3 missions done. And I don't think Rob has noticed.
Yeah, so this is one of the benefits with both of the characters in our conversation having a drink, or in the case of Alice, just immediately rejecting. She's not going to be offered again. Toby did evacuate the scene, so we didn't have to run away. And while Rob has taken a few lowlights here, it looks like Opie is, I mean, one, not dead, but two, in a decent position. I think middle statues
The
is the
ambo's
most
right here,
obvious
and
way.
there it is. We time it perfectly with the ambo leaving. We do a wrong arm, and no reaction from Rob. I think Obi might have found a spy win here to start things off.
I mentioned before the game that the action tests and the ability to hit them, especially in related to Purloin, would be a large factor on these first two venues, both ballroom and gallery. In this instance, Opiwrites just finds a really well-timed Purloin and gets away with a white test. It's a bit uncharacteristic for Rob to drop a white test Purloin, but just given the situation and the heads up both on the Purloin but also the bug, Opiwrites is able to find an early spy win against a player who doesn't give very many of those.
Yeah, not only a great timing for the wrong arm, but also with the additional cover of Tex walking away at the same time. Just a perfect bug in that situation.
Yeah, looking back on it on the sniper side, it's real hard to even guess that the bug could be happening.
All right, well that'll put OP up 1-0 here early, uh, potentially breaking serve to start things off, which it's a hell of a start for OP rights. But there's a long road here to go, so let's move on to the next one. See if Rob can answer.
Let's do it in three, two, one, planet.
Yep, we got Rob starting off his wheels here. We did start next to Toby. We could have gone for some sort of cheeky purloin play there. We stand next to the ambassador as well, but no cheeky bug comes out, and we'll just flirt our way to start things off here with a green test.
Yeah, we saw Rav, I mean, really his whole career, but particularly in this tournament, has been starting off games with flirts, and a lot of 51% flirts. This is, I mean, the standard opening for basically any Spy Party match, not just Rav, but he does it at such a high rate. I don't think Opiwrites is the sort of player to really react to that. Opiwrites isn't going to be like low lighting people who aren't flirting or anything like that. But it is going to be a theme that we're going to see throughout this whole set.
Yeah, we are going to pick up this fingerprintable drink here, and that's pretty good early progress here from Rav. I mean, I think Rav generally is, as we talked about beforehand, more of a slow and steady kind of spy. Although that second green flirt will help with getting that mission done right here. So pretty good progress right now for Rav already.
Yeah, Rob is definitely steady. The slowness depends on his action test, but his action test rate has been really good. So he does end up in those situations where he does hit the difficult fingerprints. He does hit the two flirts. And so his pacing actually matches the pacing that you need to be mission completing without just picking up a
Banana
center
bread.
statue in the last 10 seconds.
Yeah, and something that we had talked about in prior casts as well is that Rav has sort of, ooh, we pick up a highlight for the real banana bread here, as OP highlights this whole conversation circle for it. But Rob is definitely been more confident in those tests and trusting his green rates as well. So is definitely willing to sort of gamble a game on hitting that difficult fingerprint or on hitting that clutch green purloin or whatever else. And that's been made a big difference in his spy play, I think.
I'm interested. I haven't noticed it, but maybe because Rob hasn't been looking towards the ambassador as much as I'd like. Is there a fingerprintable statue that we could potentially grab? I
I
don't
don't
think there necessarily
believe
is.
so, no.
That would be the quickest way to both complete missions and also get shot. I think Opie Wrights would be onto that sort of thing. If
Well,
there
here's
is one,
statues.
this one's not going to be fingerprint
Um,
swap.
um,
What?
Rob's just trying to cheese this, putting it back in Opie, having none of it, just takes a shot immediately.
I Rov has been particularly good at finding timings for swap. I associate mostly with Courtyard as a venue. This is very bold. I don't know. Is this like trying to abuse the idea that ballroom snipers have been sneaking further and further right? Because you can't necessarily see the laser from the spy side, which is because it's in the corner. Uh, definitely doesn't work if they're just hanging out in the front of the party, and it doesn't work here because you're playing Opiwrites and you're trying to cheese swap. But I like the intent. I don't like the actual play, but I really do like the idea that Rob is looking for plays like this.
I wonder if we get away with that if we're not highlight.
I would say more likely not, but that's also true anytime that you're playing against one of these two snipers, is you're most likely not going to get away with stuff. Definitely not helpful, and I think Obi Wrights definitely is going to be counting his blessings that he did decide to do the highlight for real banana bread.
All right. Well, Opie starting things off here with a lead, taking the first two games of his choice here on Ballroom, and going into Spy side as Plane Twin.
Let's do it. 3, 2, 1, planet.
Opie starting
Yeah,
off the bookshelves. Is this gonna
throughout
be
this
cheese?
tournament, we've seen a lot of 3-and-1s on one's own venue. That's a white test, but it's so chaotic at the very beginning of the game. We to a point that we call it chaos time. That these very early microfilms are probably the sixth or seventh thing on your list to be worrying about, and you sometimes just don't get to them. The second one is going to be the harder one. It looks like
And we're doing
Opiwrites
it right
might try and
now.
do it immediately.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if we have so much time because we've been very quick about coming to this bookcase that we do it somewhere else, somewhere sneakier.
Looks like
Uh,
Opie agrees with you. We're in this empty conversation circle. We could do it right here with this pillar cover. But Opie thinking better of it is going to just cook this book for a bit and instead start the flirt process. It's another white test. We've seen a vast majority of white tests here coming out from Opie Writes. We're here at the back painting pad though, and if you're gonna find a good spot for it, this might be it. And yep, it's another white test, visible on camera, the head turn, but no reaction from Rov, and we might be done with microfilm right here as we put this book back.
Yeah, historically, this sort of spot I've found it doesn't work as well as you want it to. But because we had the visage of general between us and the sniper, and Opie Wrights was very conscious of where the laser was, he's able to get away with even two white tests actually on the microfilms.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Rov's spending a lot of attention on on Purloin here. Excuse me, staring at the list at every single take. We're being offered, but I would be very surprised to see us take it now, given that we've already gotten one hard test done. Yep, there it is. We're just gonna take the drink and walk away instead.
Yeah, I've always been impressed with Rov's ability
Banana
to
bread.
put the laser where it needs to be. Uh, that's going to mainly be protecting the ambassador and protecting the tray on a map like Ballroom. But it is a skill that he's perfected, and it took a long time for the Spy Party community to really be able to perfect that. So good for him. General is going to go to side statue that prevents us from doing our flirt, but we do have the option of going to middle
Yep, we're
statues
doing
and
it.
ending this game.
Yeah, we're gonna go for the finish right here, right now. We get highlight for it, going to center statues, but there's the flirt done. Now we just need to inspect our way to victory.
I
Can
think
Rob
Rob
find
might
this
have
shot?
noticed the slow pickup because we were flirting. We do get the second inspect that Boots had and enough green
Rob
tests to
is
be able to
watching for
complete
the
here.
swap, but Rob is not aware. Rob's mission count is off, not being aware of the microfilm, and Opie Writes is going to find yet another spy mission win.
His instincts were screaming. You could tell that he wanted to take the shot, but he's trying to be patient. He's trying to be reserved and going, well, I know you haven't bugged. The list is still there. You're not swapping. I can see the statue. And just refuses to take the shot that I think in his bones he knew that that was the spy, just based on the way that he was just spending every moment looking at that statue.
Yeah, that was such. I mean, not to sidetrack, but that was such a spy-like play, right? Just Opie Wright's going mission site to mission site, very purposeful on the spy side, um, chasing a seduction target. It felt very spy-like, but Rob, of course, uh, trusts his count, which is a laudable skill for the most part, but here does him dirty. And suddenly Rob's in a 3-0 hole.
Good job to Obi Wrights. I do want to give him a little bit of extra credit here. 3 green tests on the inspects. It usually doesn't matter that much if you're green testing or white testing the inspects, but here it made it so he could beat Boots to the punch and not have her pick up and ruin the statue, and it made sure that he could get out timely and not have to be there for 3 cycles because he would have died on the spot if that had happened.
Yep, 100%. All right, well, suddenly Rav needs a spy win here just to keep things close.
Okay, let's do it. It's 3-0, goodness sake. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yep, we've gone to Kane, of course. Some Kane gaming here. When you need a good bug, that's usually the way to go. But we're going to start things off slowly here. As our selection target is at books, Double Agent is just chilling at the paintings, and Rav is going to kill time until the party gives us something to work with. And it does as the Double Agent comes to join us.
Would not be taking this contact this early unless there's something like the person who's just gone to middle statues comes into the conversation. They're not gonna. I might be wrong. They might have just redirected in here. That's very funny. Red Dress did come straight after like going towards the other statues, straight in, is talking. You could do a very cute banana bread to frame Red Dress because she is hecka active, but instead we actually have no progress at all, and it's been about a minute.
So, one thing that I find interesting about spies at this level is it seems like most of the focus is on getting missions done, and you kind of forget that you have spies have multiple win conditions, and one of them is a civ shot. Like, we don't see a lot of those because snipers are really good, but I would like to see more frames coming out from both of these players.
The nice thing about playing campier players, and both these players should definitely be on that side, is that they aren't going to be necessarily watching you as much for the behavioral and the etiquette stuff. And that's really one of the issues that comes with like super framey games is often something gets sacrificed and it's often just you're not looking at your character as much as you are in these sort of games. The only things that you need to be looking at for a spy when you're not trying to keep alibis, when you're not trying to frame, is just going to be things like fingerprints, and that's fairly straightforward. It's fairly trivial as long as you're watching the ambassador most of the time. 64% on the flirt is an ugly amount. Rov does hit enough green tests that it shouldn't be enough to lose sleep, but 38 is requiring a green test.
Yeah, well,
Sirloin.
speaking of action ties, it's a white one. The laser swings around. The list missing is very clearly visible. Opiwrites reacts immediately, and here comes some lowlights, but no shot yet.
Yeah, and the problem here is without the banana bread said, Uh, without really anything going on here, everybody's still just chilling in conversations. Opiwrites is going to be able to take a bunch of lowlights here, take a highlight on Rav, and it doesn't feel like anything particularly threatening is happening.
No, and we lost our opportunity for that banana bread with the double agent in conversation circle. And this is such a tough spot to be in for Rav. Like, clearly, Opie writes on top of the chain, but not on top of the fates. We still have viable suspects here. But at this point, Rav is going to need a lot of help from the party just to finish, or to get that civ shot coming off.
Think if we're going to have any chance here, the banana bread also needs to have somebody like Red Dress. Duke's taking another drink here and running away from the contact conversation. Rav, maybe it's orange dress he's excited about. He's just watching the party, and I think it was orange dress he wants to go into conversation there because he was getting excited when orange dress went near the conversation. I mean, correctly judging the situation, right? There's only a few highlights left. It's going to need to be one of them. We do also need to get this flirt done if we're going to be completing missions, so may as well. This needs to be a green test.
Yeah, Rav really taking his time here. There's the green test.
You needed that.
Yeah, we needed that, but we still only have 30 seconds left and 2 missions to go. Like the banana.
Ambassador is in a good position to uh, bug, like mechanically, but in a bad position to get a really good bug. I think we get shot either for the path or for most bugs if we just walk towards the ambassador.
Yeah.
You need to say banana bread if the
Banana
shot's
bread.
Here it
making
is.
green.
Here's the fake. It's not going to be real. It's assumed real for us because we do have the SEA. But Opie writes not looking like he wants to take the bait. We go for the bug, we get it, but we don't have a fourth mission. And even with that bug, we're just going to time out.
Yeah, good patience there from Opiwrites to not shoot somebody like Red Dress, who I've mentioned a couple times this game, went to mid statues early. Uh, for the people who are like, why didn't he do a banana bread there when Seek was stepping into the conversation? Seek wasn't stepping into the conversation. There was a briefcase that was being picked up. Uh, I think we've seen this previously in other games. It has been mentioned by other analysis that Rov has been in situations where he's been low lit and timed out. He's been in these situations where he could have finished and just being a bit too patient there on the flirt and just having any cast member move results in a timeout. For who's been pretty much infallible as a sniper, uh, this has been the one thing that's been pointed at in Rov's gameplay as a potential weakness, and it's a weakness that's being abused. OP is now 4-0 up.
Yeah, I mean, that was Obi's map pick, and we are going into Rov's of Gallery, but this is a big hole. I mean, again, it's a long set. We've seen massive comebacks happen in sets like this before, but Rov has a lot of work to do starting now.
Okay, let's do some gallery in 3, 2, 1, planet.
Yep, Opiwrites starting off as Budget Small Man, as Wheels, and Wheels very, very strong on Gallery. I think a lot of players in the community have come around to Wheels being a pretty good spy after all, despite his weaknesses. And Opiwrites gonna start things off with a green flirt.
Yeah, the ability to play well on a character like Wheels, I'll also mention Pearls as just a slow character or Wheels as a short character. Like, there are heavy benefits and heavy weaknesses, but better players are able to just go, okay, if I'm playing as Wheels, I just need to be doing Wheels things.
Look at the
And
pace here from Opiwrites.
that's flirt done. That was 2 flirts,
Yep,
goodness.
yeah, we cheesed that using Wheels a small size, and now we're just chasing down the Ambassador.
Yeah, we had situations there where we almost could have had the double walking
We
bug.
take the standing bug. We take the standing bug across conversation right in Rov's face. Rov saw it.
Rov was zoomed out, 100%. The standing bug there hasn't taken a highlight, but Rov has been hiding some bug highlights previously. And it is one of those bugs that is really good because it is through a character. The arm just doesn't go into the ambassador, it just went into Salmon, the unsuspecting civilian who's just been bugged himself. Are we swapping here?
I don't think we're swapping here, but we could go statue to statue, inspect, swap, finish.
Okay, we take the highlight, which has got to be really nice for Opiwrites. When you go to these situations, you're doing something, and you've already done the suspicious thing, and then you take what appears to be a highlight. It's usually a good feeling. Um, Wheels isn't necessarily going to be the best inspect swapper, but we do have that option. There is also like clever plays, right? Like you could green swap and then try and stall it a bit.
Here we go.
Um,
Opie's
I'm
going for
interested
it
to see
right
how this
here.
goes.
And Rov,
Okay,
not having any of it. Rov is just going to take the shot as soon as we get to statues.
the bug was
Rov,
seen.
yeah, the bug was definitely seen. Rov just disguising and waiting for Opie to do something to warrant the shot. And there it is. Rov finally on the board.
Yeah, with Obi Rights, I mean, there's no real reason to slow down. We just saw what happens when you slow down in the ballroom game. You just don't finish a lot of the time, especially on gallery, where the AI can often walk right across the map. But Rov, really, I think needing to take a little bit of a breather there, gets about a minute of Spy Party where he already knows the answer, and so he can take a deep breath, get ready to continue making a comeback now, only down 4-1. 1-4. Let's get another game started here, though. More gallery. Rob as Taft in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
Yep. Taft, an interesting choice. Taft also with, of course, the body block possibilities, but perhaps a bit more standy outiness here on Gallery. Rov going to take things slow to start with, as usual.
Gallery is a funny venue in that, unlike most venues that have some sort of brown shades, and Taft kind of blends in. Gallery doesn't have that. Gallery is an incredibly colorful venue, and being this brown shade, being the large man, doesn't really give you any like particular advantage to blend in. Uh, the big benefit for Taft in this venue, to be honest, isn't necessarily the body block. It's the fact that we are actually the fastest character.
Yep, certainly an important factor here on Gallery. And we do have the slowest character as our seduction target, worth pointing out.
It's interesting about selecting your seduction target. You don't necessarily want to be doing it every single time because if you do that, somebody might notice and then just start punishing you anytime that you stand next to Pearls or whoever you choose. Um, On gallery, I think you actually want a slightly faster seduction target. You just want them to be reaching the locations that they're going to quickly so you can meet them there.
Yeah, Roth clearly wants to tuck in here next to the seduction target with the double agent there as well. But instead going to, yep, redirect away. I like it, Rob. Very nice. And I
Not
think this
sure
is
what
close
we're
enough for the two
redirecting off,
flirt.
but sure.
It was the Amba. Amba crossed our path. It's fine. Unfortunately, we won't hit the green test, so 84% on the flirt. But we do have the double agent here, and this being gallery, you can never take that for granted, see? And that's why, as the double agent leaves.
Yeah, I think there's a skill that most people haven't really realized, and it's making sure the double agent stays in conversation. You really don't have any ability to do so unless it's just you and the double agent. But if anybody's looking to slightly improve their spy game, if you see a double agent chilling in a conversation, feel free to go visit them until somebody else shows up, and then they can babysit the double agent, and you might be able to hold a double agent in a conversation for a banana bread 60, 90 seconds later down the road. In this game, we've got flirt done, and that's about it. Rob has kind of just repeated the sort of pattern that we saw in the last ballroom game, and he timed out in that one. Uh, it's also a harder venue to time add on. So if we are going to be completing here, it is going to just need to be a rush of missions.
Rob just redirecting like a madman here. The ambassador's gonna walk by, not even in bug range, should we have felt a little froggy there. Uh, Rob needs to kind of get a move on though. Down to a minute 15. Still just that flirt done. We have a lot of work to do if we're gonna be finishing. And I don't know if we even have any viable frame targets.
One that jumps out to me was Queen, who did inspects into fingerprints, just a kind of just quick rush of half missions that might catch somebody's mind. But I don't think anybody's done two inspects, and if they have, I'm sure Opiwrites is aware of it, and I'm not sure Rov would be. These players, despite all their strengths, I don't think are necessarily watching the party that aggressively.
Yeah, we take the book out. We missed the difficult fingerprint as well. So Rob here really up against it. We're just gonna go slam this book back in right now. I don't think we get away with this. I think Opie just shoots us.
Okay, so the sirens are going off, and this is only our second mission, by the way. Hmm. Yeah, what
Opie
are you
high.
doing there? That,
Yeah.
that that's a whom from my sniper.
Opie highlights and then just takes the shot anyway.
Yeah, I think there's a consideration since we hadn't put the book in and the contact hasn't been done, and just wondering, do I need to actually shoot for this? Bug is a mission, like you've seen them moving about. I think this is still a reasonable shot, even if there isn't actually a fourth mission that could possibly be done. Just being able to move on to the next game is a benefit.
Yep, absolutely. Speaking of the next game, uh, Opie's keeping the pressure on.
It's Smallman. Let's do it in three, two, one. Planet.
All right,
So
how cheeky are we getting here as Opie?
uh, so I think the reality with Smallman on something like Gallery is you don't want to be as forceful as somebody could consider. Like you want to be fairly respectful, and if you end the game at 2 minutes or 30 seconds, it doesn't really matter because you're Smallman. You can still do silly dance stuff, but you don't need to be like trying to get away with absolute murder. It's just like small amounts of
Haha.
manslaughter. Uh, innocent drink take here, but I mean it's OP rights. We already have 85% flirt somehow.
We cheesed it, as always. Opie has been taking advantage of the small stature, first of Wheels and now of Small Men, to cheese that flirt behind this back conversation circle. Um, we've now seen it in both of his spy games here, and clearly that was sort of the intent of picking those two low stature characters, I think.
One thing about Gallery that I think has changed over the years is Gallery's most powerful bugs used to be these behind the back bugs along the paintings. People just weren't particularly ready for them, and with players of this quality, but also just with the modern gameplay that we're seeing with SpyParty, I feel like those bugs are just prohibited. Like you're just gonna get shot for them way too often. And so Gallery, which has already been a slow venue, having less options because the snipers are just watching for these very specific things means that you need to be doing sort of things like these cheese flirts, like Obi's been doing, to have a chance of finishing with a reasonable finish, a finish that won't just get you shot.
I think that's true, but I think that those sort of standing bugs have been replaced with others such as sort of the double walking bugs heading outwards, using the ambassador to block the arm behind him. Like that
Yeah,
sort of thing is something you're
but
seeing more
Gallery
and more of
doesn't
these
have
days.
many of those.
No, but it rewards the sniper who's able to set those up and see the opportunities and take them when they come along.
Yeah. No, I got my favorite gallery bugs are the ones in this front door where it just doesn't feel like they should be happening, but you're just helicoptering around, and because they're zoomed in, they see nothing of it.
I mean, I
But
feel like that's pretty rare, but hey, um, I would be delighted if it happens here for sure.
I think Smallman's literally the worst character for them. So Opiwrites, 90 seconds left. The fingerprint in pocket is definitely helpful. That's a good way of getting 2 missions done at once. This banana bread with the DA in this front conversation, but the SDA not in the back conversation.
We're leaving. Oh, we're time adding here under the sniper's camera, and then just
What
tucking
test?
ourselves right back on in.
The zoom out right as the action test happens. I think if there was a reaction, it's going to be us and Rocker.
Banana bread.
Yep, here comes some lowlights immediately.
Rob is always so ready to take the lowlights.
Yep,
Like
that
he
was.
always
I mean,
feels like he just
that was the
predicts
banana
the
bread.
team coming.
Yeah, that was the banana bread reaction, but that's a lot of lowlights given off, and suddenly, like this party's cut in half basically for Rav. And Opiwrites still has a lot of work to do. We need another fingerprint and another mission. Like we could conceivably go for the soft house, but knowing Opiwrites, that's not gonna be what he wants to do.
Yeah, so we need to find a way to get the fingerprint, and then Smallman
Well,
games can start. This
well,
statue with the
statue,
ambassador
yep.
that, like, we don't need to swap the statue, for example. Or we don't need to do 2 inspects. We can just pick up this statue and then go to back conversation and really put Rav in a weird spot. They have the option here to Purloin. I don't think it's a real one. And
Ooh,
a neutral light,
we
but
got
we're big.
highlight and then neutral it immediately. That might just be a memory aid for Rovs. Remember, small man is here. Small man just rejected.
He's cooked a bit of time since this print. I don't think it's going to result in Rav forgetting. That's not the
Especially now,
path for that
yeah,
statue, goodness sake.
yeah, and with the briefcase right there that we just ignored.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Rov, not gonna let that
A
go.
quick pickup too. So, for someone like Rav, the information that he has about etiquette sniping isn't necessarily going to come from his sniper, but it's going to come from his spy. He knows what he needs to do as a spy, and so in a situation there where you're literally just flickering on Smallman, he's hyper conscious in your mind, and then you see a couple different etiquette breaks, both his path. I also personally didn't like how quickly we picked up the statue. Uh, in addition to, it's also a fingerprintable statue. I think this shot is surprisingly comfortable for Rav.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. All right, well, Rov, keeping it close here at 5-2. One more gallery game to go before we head into our quasi halftime break. Ready?
So, 3,
All right.
2, 1, planet.
Yep. Rov now playing as Irish, a bit more of a conventional choice here after sort of the uh, clearly planned picks we've been seeing out of both of these players, I think. It's fair to say we get joined by our selection target. We'll take the green for 37%. That's not the worst start.
Yeah, I am interested to see just how the character picks continue on. It shouldn't be a thing that anybody's putting weight into.
Look at this
But
reward. Selection target comes to us again. We pick up another green test, 88% without having to chase them once. We take those every time.
okay, and we're still kind of just vaguely in the area where a bug could be possible. Could have been slightly more patient. I think OP is like ready to watch us and Kane most of the time there. But definitely giving yourself options, being flexible, and being able to use the fortune that the party is willing to give you. Take these flirts, flirt done entirely, is going to be a big skill.
Yeah, do we take this banana bread? It's like it's not the best spot right now with so many people out of conversation and the back conversation circle relatively empty. But this, of course, is gallery. We're gonna have to take it sooner or later. But now is not the time, so we are electing later instead, as Rav goes to not statues.
Not statues, I think, means going to this back portion of the party, and I wouldn't be too surprised if we start something else up.
Like
Purloin
a
was not the
green
thing I was thinking of.
purloin. Okay. Rav really leaning on that green test because the white test there is death. Do we get a chain now?
Oh,
Yep, we do get a
uh,
chain. Start it up.
Alice rejecting here by walking away is interesting. And we're at statues. We have like a vague alibi if the sniper is incredibly unaware.
Fade was visible. Opie sees it immediately. Is Opie
Plot
aware,
pending.
though, of the chain? Yep. Rav, suddenly with pace. Are we going statue to statue? We have to, right?
So yeah, there's two options here, like statue, or do something silly like stall the swap.
Nope, we're
It's
just
gonna
going
be
for it.
statue, and Pearl's picking up. It's gonna be front facing. The swap fade may well be visible. We're not even highlight for the Purloin. Oh,
It's
that's
seen.
very visible.
It's seen. Can Opie find the shot? A little laser shake. Opie thinking about it. 5 seconds left.
He's
Opie
not
pondering.
confident,
Laser
and if
shake
he can't
again.
find a shot, he just won't take one.
Opie can't find the shot. And Rav with a spy win. Cheeky in Opie's face. And suddenly it's 5-3. We have a match.
Yeah, let's quickly. Actually, you know what? This is gonna be the thing that we're gonna hit on analysis. So let's just stick here for a bit. Um, Wrestler, I'll just do this live with you. Let's go back to the Purloin. At the start, so 2:30 on the clock, and I'll talk us through it.
I am ready with the.
Let's do this. So with the Purloin, and just looking at it from Rob's side, the first thing we do is actually going to just another pad, but it's really just to set up that we're going to the statue. For Rob, he's looking forward, but you can see that he turns around specifically to confirm who is taking the list. In this case, he doesn't actually know that it is an SDA that's taken the list. For the green swap here, let's really try and figure out what the timing was. So the swap happened at 2:06. The Purloin was taken at 2:10. So there's a 4-second difference here. And during that time is the time that OP did not highlight us for this inspect, did not highlight us for this Purloin, wasn't prepared to find the shot. The fade is clearly seen here from Opiwrites, but he just doesn't know who to shoot. And I'm surprised that Rov wasn't the panic shot, to be honest. Because Rov doing the inspect back to back in the face, it's something that I saw in Aquarium when I did analysis for him versus Nebula. It's something that we're gonna see here. Just Rov finding the ability to time something that isn't guaranteed is just brilliant. So he's here, and the swap is done in reaction to the Purloin. Once the Purloin's done, Rob then swaps. I would not be surprised if Rob would have gone to the other statue and swapped that statue if the Purloin had continued to be a chain. So, really good heads up play there from Rob. And while I don't think this necessarily gets rewarded every time, I think Opiwrites does find this shot even correctly from just tracking the Purloin slightly better, or a panic shot, just because the character who was at the statue previously is also done now 3 inspects in a row. But really good stuff from Rob, and he needed it. This is a bit of a comeback here in this set. Only down 3-5, and Rob as the only player to make a comeback during this set, or like during this tournament, from when we've done these like halftime analysis. This gives Rob a chance. If you were down 2-6, I think you have plenty of time, but it would be a much more miserable slog to try and bring it back.
All right.
Thoughts, Sped?
So I wonder if Rav was hoping maybe just with that back statue, with the proximity of the list taker, that the list taker would come and swap for him as well. That's the only additional thought I have there.
That would also be nasty for sure. Yeah, with the SDA taking it, I think that's also a bit of a boon here. Just it makes the Purloin, which while he did see it, it just makes it slightly harder to like think about and track when somebody who's not a suspect does end up taking it. So yeah, really lovely stuff there. Really just abusing when the party gives you just this quick flirt, gives you the opportunity to do a purloin, just taking the opportunity. We've seen it a lot from OP this set, but this is the one good instance of Rob.
So far, we still have plenty of Spy Party left to play here in the second half, potentially, assuming no player starts running away with it. And we're going from here into the second set of doubles. Um, Maybe a bit less of the classic as we're going into pub, followed by redwoods.
Yeah, and I think gallery. We were talking before this set, just waiting for the cast to start. Gallery and pub are the two venues I personally think you show your skill, like a skill expression, the most. On gallery, it's often the spy and just finding a way to uh make it work. On pub, it's often the sniper, just dealing with only having to shoot for 3 missions and having a lot of guests puts a lot of strain on the sniper, and it's often the better player, the better sniper who's able to pull it off. Let's get back into it, starting in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So something else you highlighted while we were talking before the match is that Opiwrites has a tendency on pub to try and maybe be too clever, or perhaps not clever enough and just sort of force missions when he doesn't have to.
So
I
there's a huge benefit reputation-wise. Like Rov has to be watching, for example, from a swap from Seek, which no other reasonable player would take. Uh, Opiwrites is just gonna take a regular 45% flirt, nothing too crazy so far, but a lot of pressure is being put on Rov just because he knows that Opiwrites wants to do all of these aggressive things, and it's more likely that a civilian shot's gonna come off just because Opiwrites is Opiwrites.
Yeah, I mean, reputation in Spy Party is an underrated tool. I mean, I know Opiwrites has written us like a Spy Party fans article on it, but I'm glad to see that Opie is playing a little bit more slowly here, but it does feel like Opie still tries to make those plays happen on pub in situations where he could get away with such strong frames just based off that reputation.
Yeah, it's the okay. Did you really need to swap this? Are we time adding here?
We are at the window
No.
for it.
Wow.
Yep, there it is. Green time ad here on
Okay.
pub. Because
If
why
you're gonna
not?
hit your green test, you may as well. The reality is Rob has been so good at
We red flirt.
ow. We've been so good at catching our time ads as Rob, including green time ads, that it's actually really impressive that OP's able to find a timing where time ad isn't just the thing that's being watched on a venue like this. Um, just a quick side note, Rob has been taking lowlights, I think, for just a correct path in front of Damon.
I was
Maybe
about to highlight the same thing. Actually, I was literally about to speak up and say the same thing. Rob's been taking pathing highlights throughout pub here, whether for good bounces or for just paths that he likes. And I mean, on pub, especially where you have to narrow a party like this, it's a very important skill to be able to do that. But it's great seeing Rob pull that out of his bag of tricks for sure.
yeah. Opiwrites can be a bit sloppy. He knows all the rules. It's just if he wants to do them or not. Uh, Smallman.
Wait, what? Oh,
What?
Rob!
Okay, I'm
Let's
looking
let's
for it.
let's yeah, let's unpack this one.
Chat, help us out here, buddies. Come on, what happened here?
Did Rob think that we cheesed this?
That's actually a pretty decent guess there, because I don't see anything that like screams like pathing or anything.
Because we're
Um,
because we're offered and we just reject. This isn't sort of a cheese. This is just a straight reject.
I think we're moved a little bit too late. I think that's what happens after the reject. I think
Gross.
if I'm pretty sure that's what happened. At least from looking at it. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
no,
no, no.
we need the help here. That shot is nothing for it mission wise, and it's just like drink take etiquette, seemingly, because I don't think it was pathing. And Opie just getting shot for not even wanting a drink. Like, didn't even take the ability to delegate.
All right. Well, Lazy Bear coming in chat to give us the etiquette knowledge. Thank you, Lazy Bear. Apparently, yeah, just too late of a leave, and Rav all over it with the etiquette. You love to see it.
Okay, some more pub, and Opiwrites is about to lose their lead if they don't make the shot correct. So let's see it in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
One thing I am worried about is we've already seen Rav time out once, and Sniper Arcade Pub is definitely a place where you can do that if you let the clock slip away from you. So I do hope that Rav has a bit more of steady mission progress here than maybe we've seen in other venues so far.
I don't know what it is about this tournament, but the new meta at the start of the game is just to walk around in circles, just looking like an AI who's just getting bounced by phantoms, beaten up by ghosts until you do what you want to do. Rob didn't actually get to do his favorite thing, which presumably would be go flirt with the queen. Rip queen, but instead we're here getting to delegate. I find it very funny though. It's very enjoyable.
I mean, I always enjoy a good bounce around, and I enjoy that these players enjoy that as well. So we have nested enjoyment, and that's good. I also enjoy green flirts, as does Rav, and that's how we're starting things off.
Yeah, these are the two players that, in my mind, can actually just consistently hit two flirts. They both just get very clearly frustrated when they're not doing so. And compared to like usual, where I think a lot of players are able to hit the first flirt, but then they start thinking about their action test for the second one because it would be a boon, and just the idea of thinking about it makes it so much harder to do what should be a natural movement.
Yeah, we do have a bunch of highlights here. Opiwrites clearly going with the more behavioral highlight style here, as I think bunch of these uh, AI have just sort of been flirting. We're gonna finish this drink off and go pick up another one, it looks like. We're down to a minute though already. As I said, the clock here on Sniper Arcade Pub can be unforgiving. So Rob is gonna have to pick up another flirt, fire off this delegate, and find another mission, all in pretty quick succession here.
Pearl's showing the class what you're meant to do. Toby touches glass, Pearls runs away immediately. Good stuff, Pearls.
Yep, we
Meanwhile,
appreciate.
we're just
Whoa, we just direct
purloining.
purloined. Yeah, we just direct purloined. All right, okay, Rob. Well,
Okay, one low light, one highlight.
low light.
Low
We
light
get low.
Rob.
No,
No.
Okay.
Not today. We do not lose like that, OP. Okay.
Suddenly, were we banking on a shot because we're under 30 seconds with just the purloin, and we're just standing here absent-mindedly sipping a drink.
Yeah, to
We're
note,
firing off a
the
fake.
DA is in that far conversation. The SDA unfortunately adds statues, and that's only going to give 2 reels to people that weren't the highlights for this potential purloin.
Banana bread.
There's no, we split,
We're
but
hoping,
with
we're
2
dreaming,
seconds
but
left, we're just
there's
going for the
literally no
bug,
DA in conversation.
and we're out of time.
Yeah.
Rob with another timeout.
I think the idea here of the frame was nice. Like, it's a good idea to be doing this on pub. Unfortunately, I think the person that we're standing next to when we split this conversation was like Kane. And just looking at the banana breads, Kane's not in that conversation with the DA when we have the opportunity. Kane's with us, which is a known fake.
Still, though, really nice hold from Opie, just being fully aware of who has 2 missions done possibly and who does not. So, not taking the bait, just holding, and letting Rob time out instead. Very nice play from Opie as well.
think we were
It's
hoping to choose Beta Alice, not Alice, Orange Starry there, since she had a drink there. Pretty sure it was Orange
she's
Starry.
still holding the drink, but she's not got the highlight like Kane. So yeah, I mean, either way, no matter what you're thinking, that's actually the best way to do these purloin delegates is just to be between 2 people who are suspect. But that's a hard feat to do. I think it honestly might have been that sort of situation. Rob really probably felt like he was in a good spot, but OP just does not bite and keeps his lead. More pub, let's do it. 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yep.
Seek,
No, not a fan? Not feeling it?
I am a Seek enjoyer. I think most people are Seek enjoyers. This doesn't feel like the venue for it.
Yeah, fair point. However, we do have a bunch of highlights. We have 2 statue visitors right off the bat here. Obi-Rights could go for a frame. Just go for a swap frame. And that might be the play here.
While also sneaking in a 34%er. Yeah, let's do it. Why not?
Yeah.
This fade's gonna be watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually funny.
But we're swapping anyway. It's a green test. It's a green swap. Oh,
animation
Obi-Rights. Opiwrites doing Opiwrites things. Are we just gonna
He
go
bro-
for it? We're going for the pearl line.
Okay, so this is the reason you pick Zeke. He broke the animation on the statue put down, but did
Good.
not look like that was the thing that Rob cared about. The list is gone, by the way,
Yep. Good lord. This is the rush from Opiwrites that we were
and
expecting
Rob
last
is
time.
not looking at the right angle. Okay, now he's rotated, sees it. How does he not notice the list is gone? Rob,
I.
wake up! We're playing Spy Party.
You're playing SpyParty against Opiwrites. This is what Opiwrites does, and yet it works. Opiwrites with the rush mission win here on pub.
Okay, fantastic stuff there from Opiwrites, but I am surprised that Rob didn't have some sort of reaction to this pearl line. With Opiwrites going from statue to the bar, it could only be him. It could only be direct, and Rob is just not holding an angle to protect either the swap or the purloin. He also didn't catch the animation break. Just not the sort of gameplay that we expect from Rob, especially when this is exactly the sort of gameplay that we expect from Opiwrites when he's picking a doubled pub into you and didn't rush on the first game.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair analysis. So Rob may be kicking himself a little bit after watching that replay, but here with one more chance to pick up a spy win as general.
Let's do it. 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And we're starting things off with the green time ad. You love to see it.
Yeah, I would too.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, we know that. Very bugable
uh,
situation here, but we elect not to take it. We're instead just gonna pick up a drink from the bar.
yeah, these players refuse to just do regular bugs. If it's not like a double walking wrong arm super bug, even when you're general, they're just not taking it these days. And I mean, good for them. Being reserved and responsible against a very good sniper is probably the correct thing in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, based on the angle of that, Rob dies for taking that bug 100%. So, discretion the better part of valor in this case. And valor is something
My
for
bad. You
which,
have so much time to make bad decisions.
yeah, exactly. So we'll instead just pick up the green foot from across the conversation circle. And Rob, with that extra time in pocket, can take things a little slower. Again, as we saw last game, pacing can be an issue here. And we've seen Opie now not bite on frames twice. So if I'm Rob, I'm thinking that I have to change the mission plan and just go for mission wins here instead of sort of rely on those Hail Mary frames a bit more.
Really full conversations. It would be nice if the double agent would do us a favor and come into conversation. That is the one place outside that is not a conversation. Thank you, Wheels.
Yeah, I
With
mean,
that,
Rob,
Rob is going to head inside.
Rob, of course, doesn't know that the STA is in that conversation circle. But having enough of the weight, we're going to go pick up an inspect here. Uh, Kind of surprising to see both these players just going to statues in these last two games, but it's mission
I wouldn't
progress.
say Opie just went to statues.
Well, okay, you know what I mean.
Yeah, this is just getting progress for the sake of progress and getting a highlight. We are one of 4 highlights. It's not like we're alone in the suspect pool here, but it is going to be harder to do something like use General's Great Bug if we're a highlight.
Yep, or a statue block later on.
Shoutouts to Opiwrites finding a low light in an otherwise quiet party. Both these players are doing more than just camping, no matter how much I want to deride them for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, this is 3 or 7 pub. It's pretty hard to snipe this if all you do is camp, right?
What's the plan here after this flirt? Another white test means Rov, despite the time ad, is actually further behind than would usually be given his action test rate. We do need to get another flirt, but with Wheels in conversation, it's really, what are we waiting for our contact?
Yeah, well, that's the question, right? We can either go for the contact, which we probably should, given the situation here.
That
Um,
back conversation will probably be our savior.
ooh, safety off on the inspector on Irish there at the front statue, but no shot.
What are we waiting for?
Maybe we're waiting for Irish to get back in conversation circle, but we've given up. We're just gonna take the banana bird
That
down. We're
gives
gonna
Irish
knock
an
out.
alibi, but Irish is going to be also our seduction target. We need to chase here now, Rob. Go.
Yep, we're doing it. This back conversation circle is pretty full, but we will have room to tuck in.
That laser got mad at us when we left that conversation. We might have broken
There's
the
gonna be
animation.
overtime.
Might
There
die
will
for
be
this pop.
overtime here. Here it is. It's going to be 3, 2, 1. 5 seconds of overtime. And the shot's going to come off on the wrong target. Twain will take the shot for us. And somehow, Rob will pick up the spy win there to keep it at a 2-game deficit.
Yeah, and I think the contact had a lot of people in. We were a bit fortunate with our SDA. But really, I think the credit goes back to the first moment of this game. Just getting that timeout in when we spawn on the window pad. Kind of calling that a window pad's a bit silly. It's a window inside to the bar, but whatever. And just having that heads up play in the first second gives us the opportunity to have a responsible game, a game that we waited impatiently for a good banana bread, a game that we didn't hit all of our green tests on flirts, and we're still able to finish, even with the overtime starting. Rav, because of his decent etiquette and his decent blending in with the party, wasn't the pick. So good stuff from Rob, and he needed it. Opiwrites still has the lead here, but it is going to be important that Rob is able to just keep within range, and not let this get away from him.
Yep. We are moving to Redwoods now, which has historically been an Obi-Wright's comfort pick, but Rov picked into him. So let's see what Rov has planned here. But first, Obi-Wrights gets the spy. Looks like we have Red Dress starting off.
3, 2, 1, playing it. When um, venue is like your preferred venue or one of your preferred venues, because Opiwrites is obviously preferred venues ballroom, you do end up showing a lot of gameplay of it as a result. And so if Rob's done any sort of study or prep, the reality is he might know what OP really wants to do on Redwoods, because Opiwrites has been picking it so much. The reason that you wouldn't necessarily pick it is because you're under the impression Opiwrites might just pick it for you and you can pick something else. But maybe Rob is that excited that he wanted it to be doubled, especially after Opiwrites picked pub.
Yeah, I mean, I think that pick bans is sort of an underrated skill in competitive spy party in general, and being able to take advantage of your opponent's weaknesses and really take advantage of sort of the study that you do is a skill that really the best players have and can kind of win sets for you by yourself, if all else being equal.
Yeah,
Opiwrites,
I
by the way, 77% on the flirt, going for the banana bread here. As the ambassador comes to us, we're going to take that bug.
Love and Opie have been staring at conversations when the ambassador's been entering them. In this case, Rob did it again. He stared straight at Opie, looking for the bug animation, and I'm not sure he necessarily caught it. Rob, obviously, especially in that gallery game that we've already seen today, didn't highlight for bug. He didn't want to give away the whole game and have Opie Wright slow down, just by putting the laser on his head and really just indicating, "Hey, I saw that, buddy." But the issue with Redwoods is just kind of hard to like get into position to see these things. So I don't really know where we're at right now.
I mean, I think we probably at least credited that bug, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure how suspicious Rav is that it actually took place. As Opioids is now going to go finish up this flirt with the delegate in hand and the bug in pocket, we can just flirt, delegate, and go chase down that banana bread as soon as the double agent settles. If the double agent settles, which she is not so far.
Yeah, I'm interested what we do here for our fourth mission. So assuming the double agent comes into conversation, that can be one of our third. We're kind of running low on options because bug is often that panic option, right? So
Well,
we
there's the
need to.
delegate. I don't know if this is going to take, though. The time is a little bit low on it, but the bar, not a big rush, so this might.
I think this kind of necessarily needs to go off, and I'm not sure it's going.
Nope, there's the expiry. A little late, but the double agent will come join us again, so we can get that banana bread, and we definitely have to take it here with 40 seconds left. But then what is the question?
Swap? Like and pretty atrocious microfilm. Like Opie is in a really tough spot here. A bug in pocket is not going to
We
save him.
split. We split. We're
A
splitting right.
direct purloin?
Yep, that's the plan. We split right into the purloin, and Rob not even gonna let it come off. Rob just gonna take the shot right there.
Yeah, I think doing the mission at like 0 is definitely an option here. But that's just not really Opie pace. Like you can kind of just abuse the fact that they are going to do overtime, for example, but Opiwrites just sees a play, does a split, and Rob is all over it. I think probably was always ready to shoot after the potential bug.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And also after the potential purloin, like it definitely looked like perhaps that the delegate was to the double agent was seen, as there was a bit of a visible animation there. So Rob might have just been looking for an excuse to shoot.
With that said, more redwoods, and just looking at the score here, Rob's got 5, so still very much in this. Let's do it in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
Rob has 6.
6. You changed it. Wow. It does make sense. It does need to be 13 games in. So, Rob, Alice, and it's going to be a quick double dip here. We're going to get the flirt and one inspect. One inspect not being a huge problem because we can just go to the red bookcase and do 2 in the future. We've seen a lot of these players like in these sort of spots just clicking additional buttons. I don't think a swap's going to come off here right now, but I'm interested to see what we do at the red bookcase. It might be some sort of thing like inspect microfilm when we get to it 2 minutes down the road.
Yep. But Rob, taking it a bit more measured than Opiwrites, as we've seen consistently throughout this set. Just going to chill here as this duction target is at the bar and it's probably going to pick up this briefcase as well pretty shortly. So we'll just go hang out here at the main conversation circle and wait. Again, though, stop me if you've heard this before, but time can be a bit unforgiving here, and we've already seen Rav get perhaps punished for not using time efficiently.
Yeah, Redwoods has this weird thing. It feels similar to Taean, right? Like there's a lot of missions kind of nearby, but you don't get these sort of like bug lanes that you get on Taean. The missions can't be completed in one sitting. You can't just go to middle statues. Even something like microfilm on Taean, like you can walk the bookcases. They're about the same distance on this venue, but it's so much more likely to get you shot. You just don't have these quick options. You can't just take a list off the tray. It has to be at the bar, which you can take directly. But as we saw in the last game, didn't even have to take, and you were getting
Ooh!
shot for it.
Wrong arm bug coming out of the conversation circle.
Rav's been waiting for that, and I really wonder what the timing was where Rav saw something that means that Obi was distracted in just that moment. Opiwrites again hasn't highlight for this. I think both players might be hiding their highlights when they notice a bug, but this one I feel might have been gone away with.
Yeah, like the path didn't look particularly close, and from the sniper view, the arm was definitely not visible. We fail our flirt here, and time is an issue, but with that bug in pocket, that's so huge for Rob, if we can just take advantage of it.
And unlike the last game, we have an inspect done. We have a way to finish this game that's very easy to imagine. It's just go flirt, go banana bread, go inspect, and we have the purloin in case one of those doesn't go well. A green test here on the flirt would help a lot in trying to just finish these missions with 45 seconds left.
Yep, well there it is, there's your green test. 45 seconds now. Rob can't idle here though, and the double agent is taking our spot at the red bookshelf. That is going to hurt so much for Rob's plan of finishing here. We might have to see a time ad.
And everything's bad about it, right? Like the double agent is both holding the book that we want to be hold, and it's also our double agent who we need to be talking to. We need to get our recipe, and he's just not doing it. He's learning the recipe right now.
We delegated, we had to. We're gonna go back and finish this flirt. The double agent is not gonna come to us because the SDA is here. We're gonna have to flirt and then leave again. Look at it just bouncing back and forth here. It looks so ugly. But here's the banana bread. We have to do it. The purloin comes off.
Purloin there.
Yep. Can Obi Rice find the correct shot here?
Seconds.
As there's going to be overtime. Zoom in on Small Man, and Small will take the shot for us. And suddenly, Rob is tied up the set.
Yeah, fantastic stuff here from Rob to find a finish. Another game going into overtime, though in this particular instance, the shot did actually go and was taken prior to the overtime starting. Rob, realizing, and I've analyzed this before, just a bit of flexibility by taking the purloin at a minute gives himself another option, and with the double agent going to the red bookcase and really taking that off the table, finds his plan B. And plan B has been a way that Rob has gotten a lot of spy wins throughout SMC, and gets it here. Smallman being shot, not a surprise. It's Smallman. We can't blame Opie for that one, but really nice stuff there from Rob. The contact, by the way, if you're looking around the party, it was just us and Smallman as far as with the double agent. Uh, maybe Wheels is in this conversation. It's not very many.
Well, we've seen
Oh,
two
you
Civ.
got Duke in the SDA.
Yeah, we've seen two Civ shots here from Opie in I think the last two games to really help Rov out here. And suddenly, Rov, who started things off in a 4-0 hole after ballroom, has tied up this set at 7-7, heading into the final stretch of games here. Like we have two more games here on Redwoods, and then we're into the singles, and that's it.
Let's do it in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
Well, Opie back to Salmon here, and on Redwoods, a very good blendy pick, as we've talked about.
Yeah, one of the small benefits of Salmon is that he is large, but there's no statue blocking on Redwood, so really this is just a blend-in pick. Trying to look a bit more conspicuous or inconspicuous, whichever one that means we don't want to be shot, please.
Just say that. Just say the one that makes us not shot.
Please.
Yeah, please. It's good to be polite.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you're Opiwrites, I really hope this isn't the case, but it would be in my mind. He's been second so many times. He's come to these spots so many times where this isn't actually the final. Like, there is more to be played for. But you had a lead, and now it's just evaporating from you. I don't want to see him do anything that particularly different from what has been giving him success. I don't think we need to panic or mix up. Just continue to do what you've been doing and don't like think about things that aren't the game. Like you just need to be single-minded here.
Yeah, well, we've hit two green tests here, so at least Opie's green test consistency not suffering despite the nerves that are probably going through his head. And I think it also helps as well that Opie Wrights has been at this point on both sides of massive comebacks. I mean, of course, the Summer Cup win against Yaran a couple years ago is,
Banana bread.
I think, probably by statistically the greatest comeback we've seen in competitive Spy Party at this point. Um,
Especially given the stakes, but even just like the numbers are ridiculously how large the comeback was.
yep, we did cheese that statue inspect, by the way, and we've been highlit for it.
Yeah, I think this is one of these dead man walking situations that we see so often with Rov, where, I mean, this isn't a mission completion. Rov knows that this will only be a second inspect. Um, Opiwrites is trying to ruin the mission count. It worked so well long ago on Ballroom, but here the mission count appears to be correct. This highlight, if it's not for the inspect, I don't know what it would be for. So, that's not the pad, by the way. That's just you walking into the bush. Like
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
you've stubbed your toe, and now Salmon is crying inside.
But no, Kane getting shot for suspected bug. Kane is just gonna eat the bullet for us after going behind the ambassador there. Rob hating it so much is gonna put the bullet in Kane and maybe bail Opie out.
That is something that used to happen a lot when we cast Spy Party, and just hasn't happened much. That honestly would have been so bold to do as a bug path that it does feel like a civilian, but it looks so much like a bug if you don't acknowledge the path.
Wow, surprised to see that. That does not feel like a shot that Rob takes very often.
No, I think Kane at middle statue, or not middle statues, middle double getting two statues earlier and then going to the other bookcase. I think he was top suspect for completion. Banana Bread's done. This is actually his potential fourth mission if you also credit him with flirt.
Yeah, fair
Um,
enough.
I don't think Opie necessarily saw that coming though. Uh,
No,
I
I
think
bet
Opie
I
Rice
would.
was very much in his own mind of figuring out a cheeky way to finish. And Kane just actually that like 2% game that happens where a civilian just kind of completes.
I would not be surprised if Opie Wrights jumped a little bit when that shot came.
Yeah, you've attacked my heart. Just the memories of being surprised, especially when it's like the person next to you gets shot and it just creeps through your body. Ugh. Yeah, this is gonna be first 11. We're playing up to 20 games before we get into overtime. For anybody asking this, is actually the tail end. This will be the last of our double, and then we get into some single venues. So uh, we're actually getting pretty close to match point if one player can get a little bit of a streak going. We got one more game of Redwoods to go. By my count, let's do it in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
Yep. Rav as rocker. Rovker. Just going to do this sort of bouncing around thing that we talked about as a seduction target. We'll settle, and we'll finally join them across. Nope, never mind. Gonna keep on walking, and we finally get there.
Production target Smallman does have like a couple of additional benefits. One, you know he's not an SDA, which is nice. That makes sure that he is a suspect for the sniper. But also on a map like Redwoods, where we just saw a civilian shot, it does make it slightly easier to just acknowledge when a character is just doing a lot and is a potential ability to be your civilian shot. And if it's Smallman, like Smallman just in the vicinity of the ambassador, you might notice that because they're your seduction target and simply just be able to give them a banana bread, give them a purloin, and have him be shot. We did also see a civilian shot on Smallman previously because of the amount of threat that he has.
Yep. Well, we're just timer flirting this one out. We had a no talk, but that's fine. We'll finish our flirt 100% with another green test. And that's not a bad start here at all. But we are going to have to leave this conversation circle pretty soon and get to move on and do something else.
It's interesting to see these two different styles of players who are really confident in their ability to two-flirt. For OP, that means that they get opportunities to rush. For Rob, it just means that they get opportunities to be chill and be incredibly AI-like. The most AI-like thing in the game is to just stand in conversation and take turns talking.
Well,
Fingerprintable drink, by the way.
yeah, we're on a little bit of a rush here with a green fingerprint there. So Rob in really good shape as the double agent is in this big conversation circle. If the goal is to get mission progress for small man, a banana bread right now is the way to go.
Yeah, only 2 conversations have people in them. That conversation outside being empty does mean that it's unlikely that the SDA is in a conversation, and that they will continue to not be. It's general, and they're well outside, just chilling at a window.
Yeah, but Rob, with all this sort of idle play, time is ticking down once again on his prospects here. Down to minute 10, we have flirt done, we have one fingerprint, but that's it. The ambassador's not in a very buggable spot from where we are, so what do we do?
There's a briefcase. The fingerprint on bar has quickly been evaporated. Just very thirsty. Rest of the party, it does give us a bit of potential there of people getting the fingerprint who can also be framed for the purloin potentially, but this is quickly becoming what was a nice
Okay,
start.
Rob is spamming talk, trying to get other characters in this conversation circle talking from the interrupts. Rob, what are you doing, buddy?
That's desperate play. That's also
Banana
some
bread.
old tech. I'm really happy to see that show up.
That's some Slappy Davis like season 4 tech. You
Yeah,
love to see it.
exactly.
Alright, we're gonna pick up this
Uh,
briefcase, we'll beat Small Man to it.
this also sets up the potential to do a bug, right? Like, just you're gonna be near the ambassador here for a
But
moment.
Ambassador has his hands full, so we can't do it. And with 8 seconds left, we're going to overtime regardless. We just have to crash bug and pray. But no, what? There it is.
Context full.
Alright, dance time. No, just overtime, we'll just get shot. Why would you let...
Honestly, with how much OP struggled to take that shot, dance time might have been the play here. We took one inspiration from Slappy, just spamming the talk there with about 45 seconds left. The other inspiration we could have taken is just walking vertically or horizontally, whichever the right word is, across the trees though, and like using the trees and the people cover. Even with Rocker, it does you don't necessarily need to be small one to put on your dancing shoes. She's dressed for it. We could have made this shot slightly harder because I don't think we were getting away with that bug in very many worlds.
No, but Opiwrites finds the win and finally picks up a lead once again. Despite Rob evening things up, Opie has once again opened up a 2-game lead. And at a crucial time here, as that was the last of our doubles, all we have left are 2 single matches. Opie needs 2 wins to find the outright win. Rob needs to sweep to avoid overtime.
Orbate Modern. This map is not a place that is friendly for one who's high strung. Similar to Redwoods, civilian shots can happen here, especially if the spy is the one orchestrating it. We can see somebody be murdered for a crime they haven't done. Let's watch them Modern in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Opiwrites with the cane bug in hand.
Yeah, cane bug, and also just the speed. Just with Modern, picking a faster character more often than not is going to be to your
There it
benefit.
is. The cheese slurp to start things off. It's a green test. Opie's
He
early
didn't stop.
struggles. No, he didn't. Opie's early struggles with the white tests have clearly given way as he's settled in here. We've seen a lot of green tests from Opie in short succession here, and that's going to pay big dividends here on Modern as we go on.
Full Saturday night at the bar, by the way. Just every single person just asking for a drink. I'm interested actually that we didn't take the highlights on bar. Usually on Modern, these top players have been doing so, but perhaps even just intimidated by the fact that it was basically everybody in the party has Purloin currently.
Will Opie Red take advantage though? We haven't seen any signs of Opie making a move towards that bar yet. Our selection target bailed on us, so we weren't able to finish that flirt. But if she heads to bar, we might join her there, and that's gonna be the play.
We were not protecting that bug very well. We had a large person just kind of block. We weren't like pathing near the ambassador. We were actually trying to avoid being credited for the bug. But weird little drop there from Rob from the sniper side.
Well, that part is harmless enough. Will Opie Reds have the temerity though to actually take this direct purloin right now and just really credit that early rush? The answer is no. We're gonna do the cheese delegate.
Yeah,
Opie
we're
Writes.
doing it the one that goes into the bar. We've already been shot for etiquette at the bar, though that was on a much smaller venue with much less to watch for. Opiwrites just being a bit bold, doing something slightly different. Huh.
Banana bread.
Well, there's the banana bread and the delegate as we delegate to the double agent.
Double-edged delegates are such a double-edged sword, right? We know that
She's gonna slam. She has
they-
to slam this book. If Rob is aware, Rob knows that she was delegated to just now.
yeah, I mean, as I was saying, double agents are less likely to be seen, but more likely to. I mean, if you see the
Opie's going to
purloin,
swap.
you know that it's going to be
Opie's going to the statue.
a
He's gonna
delegate,
swap here. He has to swap for this finish.
and we should die for this. I prefer one cycle, to be honest. Get out of here.
Yeah.
No, you need to put it down slower, buddy.
Yeah. No,
Rob,
that's
Rob
blink
is
tack right there.
Rob is so ready for this etiquette stuff when he has a top suspect. We had 15 lowlights, so even if you're not a top suspect, there just aren't many suspects left. And this is like the third etiquette shot that we've seen potentially. Just Opie writes, there's no reason to rush. Like, we want to get out of there and not be seen at the statue, but you've already felt the highlight. Just take your time, look your character in the eye, and make sure that you're doing things correctly. For anybody in chat who's new to SpyParty, don't worry about it. Feel free to ask chat because we're not going to go through it. It's a college thesis on how to deal with statues. But with that, Opie Writes does not have match point. We're 9-8, and reminder, this is first to 11. So if Rob can bring this back here, we continue on without having that like looming sudden death match point feeling. So let's do it in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Boots on Modern. Why not? Let's do it.
Yeah, sure. Rob just gonna chase down the selection target as he often does. Will he cheese it? He'll green it, but no cheese coming out here. We're gonna take it slow instead.
And OP having to deal with the same problem. Just everybody likes Spar. This is a slightly less busy bar. I'm interested to see what we do for the highlights. It's a lot of fake highlights, to be honest. Opiwrites is not actually using his highlights for anything, but is putting his laser on everybody.
Yep, Rob's just gonna chase down the selection. No, I thought we were gonna go in the bar here and finish up our flirt, but we're just gonna chill here instead for a moment.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
there we
mean, if
go.
you don't know what the opponent is using their highlights for, this could actually just get us a stray highlight. That's kind of hard to do anything under, but I do think we need to make this progress. It's not necessarily gallery levels of slow, but Modern, if you're not making progress, you are going to time out. It's just too big of a venue.
Yeah, I mean the choice is the correct one. Rob unfortunately could not finish the 2 green, so still has that 1 flirt left to do. But with all that bar action so far, I would not be shocked or hate to see just an early direct purloin. Not a direct purloin, excuse me, but delegating to somebody as we go finish a flirt or pick up a banana bread, and really just knock out some of that mission progress right away and put the pressure on Opiwrites.
Yeah, and the nice thing about Delegate is you can also choose who you send. I suspect that we probably won't be doing that. We're probably going to just be thirsting for our flirt finish, and then if we do delegate, it'll be whoever we're next to. Uh, just to know, we are next to an SDA and tapped, and I believe they would be the one that we'd send because we're standing on his foot. So
Yep, but
it
we
would
don't know
be
that.
a non-suspect.
And there it goes. We have delegated to an SDA. Um, I think
This
this
should
one's
go
gonna
off.
take.
It's going to
Yeah,
be quite late in the cycle, but with only 2 people at bar and Taft being able to run over there real quick, I think we should be good to go. Assuming that we do actually want this purloin to go off.
and Rob going to books here. I like this choice. We haven't seen nearly as much books sort of shenanigans as I've been expecting from this set. So Rob being back here, and with the potential for, well, actually the potential now we have no cover for microfilm. So
I
never
was
mind
hoping
then.
that we do the cheese here as Opiwrites was going to see the purloin. The purloin, I was actually incorrect.
Yeah,
Expired right as we took it. So Rob actually going from the potential of having like 3 missions to just 1.
yeah. We still have 100 seconds, so we're okay. But we have to pick up another drink here. Um, And now something that early bar rush and all the memory strain that was putting on Opie is no longer going to be in pocket as we do the delegate cheese ourselves.
Yeah, and this is like the lovely place to cheese. General would have been a lovely send, to be honest. If we purloin now, it'll be to a salmon who's holding a book and doesn't have a highlight. So I think heading over to a different conversation is probably a reasonable thing to do, even if we're just trying to frame somebody.
Yeah, this should probably be a banana bread send. I would assume at least, although we're not going to banana bread quite yet. There it is. There's the delegate first before we banana bread. We're going to use the banana bread to distract then.
Yeah, we've already seen a shot for swap here in this.
Oh no, we cough! We coughed! We were
We had
banking on
decent
the.
cover. So the cough wasn't necessarily seen because we had a low light walk right in front of us as the hand went up to our mouth. That being said, it's a bunch of free lowlights and it's not a mission, so it's not really good. It's just Rob is not going to get shot for this at the moment.
Well, the purloin came off, and the purloin target picks up a highlight instead of a low light despite being out for the fake BB. But Rob is down to 15 seconds, and unless Rocker gets shot here, Rob needs to get on his horse and go pick up a timeout because we have no way of finishing.
Rob has been relying on potentially getting civ shots here. I don't think the cough is going to inspire Opie to want to shoot somebody. It's actually just hoping for a silent game, and we have a little disco at the end, but there's nothing to it. Without uh the mission being completed, and we never actually completed the banana bread, there really isn't just enough threat on the board for Opiwrites to take a random shot like we saw in Redwoods.
Yeah, and suddenly, this puts Opiwrites on match point here. After a grueling set, going into our very last venue here of Veranda, Opiwrites needs to find one win out of 2 games to take home this set and move on to the finals of SMC.
Yeah, let's do it in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
And if you're
This is gonna be the
Opiwrites,
side that you're not expecting to win, right? This is the spy
yeah,
side against Rav, who's been shakier than we've sometimes seen from Rav. Sometimes Rav is just this indomitable force and just cannot be beat. But like I do not want to snipe Veranda, even if it's just 1 game to try and win a whole tournament. Opie Wrights probably does. It's probably why he picked this venue.
I think Opie picked Modern actually. I think this is Rob's pick.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, okay, sure. Opie Wrights has no mission completion in like a full minute, which has never been seen in competitive Spy Party history.
One interesting thing about this too is that this was Opiwrites, I think, restrict, and I've just had it pointed out to me that Opie has not won a veranda game on either side of the laser in all of SMC.
mean, reasonable restrict then. I don't think it would necessarily would have been doubled. The problem with doubling Veranda is it often just goes 2-2. These 5-8 venues at this top level are very sniper biased. 3 at Bookcase, by the way, criminals, all of them.
It's fine. It's fine. It's no longer a crime. It's just
Eh,
suspicious. This is a crime, though.
that's
The microfilm is a
visible.
crime.
Green microfilms, I feel like the better snipers get, the less likely they are to see them. It's weird. It's just because people are so good at watching Ambassador and Toby and all the other things going on.
Timeout?
I feel like microfilms are just getting better. People are also getting watching better time ads, which means microfilms are also lower on the list of things that you want to be watching. Nice little path here.
Yeah, nice little bounce around the conversation circle there. You like to see it. Opiwrites with the time out in pocket has a fair bit of time still with the green microfilm, but nothing else. No flirts, no nothing.
In chat saying 3 isn't even suspicious. I shot so many spies. Like, it is. I promise you, it doesn't happen that often. With just 3 AI, you can make stupid assumptions and be rewarded for them, despite their stupidity. We are half clock. I mean, even with the time ad, we are still no actual mission completion. This blue is gonna be very helpful, but that's seen. The white test does us
Yeah,
in. With that,
Rav. Yeah, Rav. Despite going down 4-0 to start things off, one win away from tying this up and sending us into overtime. OP writes, needing to snipe this game for the win to win outright and avoid the overtime debacle here.
oh, with that said, we are still not going to humor overtime. We're not going to explain the rules just yet. Opiwrites can still win this and is most likely going to win this. He is sniping on Veranda, but we could have even more Spy Party here. And if you're a fan of Spy Party, you might be supporting Rov. Let's see it. It's gonna be Rov as Spy on Veranda in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Remember how beforehand we were all just like, yeah, I feel like one player could run away with this and it's not going to be close?
I mean, they did. They went 4-0.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
a good
right.
point. Yeah, that's true.
And then the
And
other player then ran away with it back.
yeah, no, we stopped the count there and Trump won. It's fine. Um,
No. Let's see. Time ad window, but we're not time adding. How dare us? This is why are we even here?
because we wanted to do the cheese slurp, but now the conversation circle is filled up and we can't go back. So our select target's gonna leave, and we're just going to bounce around and finish up that flirt. Yep, there it is.
I don't
I
think the
love
time ad
Rob.
window is the place to do it, but
No, Rob.
no. Honestly, a big tempo change here would be cute. Rob has been successful enough on Spy to not necessarily need it, but it is 5-8. This is a novel experience. Something like double time ads would be appropriate here. And doing so on the left side of the venue when everybody else is on the right side, why not? Why not get shot for time ads?
I mean, if you're gonna be shot for something on 5 of 8 veranda, Thailand seems like you know, getting shot for not doing missions sounds as good as anything. We're no talking. It's fine. This is fine.
Yeah, we've seen etiquette shots, but they've all been from Rov, so I think Rov is gonna be okay here, especially on Veranda, which has so much noise.
Yep, I think that's true. We'll finish up our flirt here. There's a green test, 100% on the flirt, so that's good. But 240 left though. Still time, but this is veranda. We still have 4 more missions to go.
Yeah, and if you're not doing something like inspects on Veranda, how are you finishing? It might be time to just go pick up a statue and take the heat that comes with it. Otherwise, Rav is really running low on time. I mean, the other option is going to be something stupid like time ads, and the later it gets for that, yeah, finally, here we go.
This does have a print on it. It is a difficult, but Rob has been hitting these pretty consistently. But we miss one. Rob banking on that one misses it, and that is going to set us back a little bit. But we will pick up these inspects at least, and pick up a highlight for our troubles.
Yeah, so with that, that might honestly be the set, which means Opiwrites could go to the final just on something as small as missing that fingerprint. It becomes so much harder. If we had that fingerprint, there's another statue. Ambassador is just put it down. like we could complete prints and specs swap. We're much closer to mission completion if we take that. Opiwrites is probably aware of it to some extent, but this is going to be a lot harder. This is not a conversation with anything going for it either.
No, and we have Flirt done. Down under 90 seconds here. Rov needs to get to work. Like, Rov has already timed out, what, 3 times in this set?
And instead, he's just playing with his camera, getting frustrated. But I don't need frustration. I need missions.
Well, we're going to time ad. That's something. It's a white time ad, though.
This is the worst spot in the map to time ad, by the way. It so often
We
seems to
missed the
disconnect
conversation
spot.
circle pad as well. We're going to bounce away. Rov, what are you doing? Rov, you need to do stuff. Any stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, even if you're gonna like force a civilian shot here, it's gonna need to be a contact purloin and have it kind of just work out in a narrative where I can't imagine with all this camera shaking and generally just not being able to see what's going on because half the party's not visible for the spy. Like, there's no frame opportunity. We need to be finishing, and we need to be
It's a
finishing
fake
here
BP. We're having a
with an
drink offered to
SDA.
us. Yep, so this could be the. Yep, and there's the purloin. Okay, so we said that was the win condition for the purloin. No, we cough!
Second cop of the set.
I think that was intentional.
Huh.
I think that was an intentional cough. Rov just trying to provoke a shot here as the purloin has come off. Opiwrites sees it, does the low light, but is not tempted to take a shot. Will highlight Small Man, but that's only Small Man's first statue visit. Rov, you have 30 seconds. This is not enough. You need to do something else. Can you go swap frame Small Man?
Now, and even then it'll be flirt inspect. It's too late now. 25's too late. We are hoping for a shot, and it's not going to come off. In most worlds, I don't want to jinx it though. Let's.
Rov needs a time ad. We're going to the time ad window. We have to do it here. It's gonna be terrible, but with 8 seconds left, here it is. It's a green test, so the clock is going to hang.
Yeah, and the beeping will slow. It's a known green time ad, and Smallman takes the low light. If we're ever hoping on finding a cough frame on Smallman to be the the end of this set, it is that dream is done. Not taking the
3
bug across Ambassador's
highlights
face.
left. 3 highlights, 2 neutral lights. That's all Rov has to work with in 35 seconds with the clock hanging at 0. We're going to statues. We'll pick up some inspects. That will finish the inspect mission, but we still have 2 missions to go. We're going to swap now. It is a green
Ending?
swap.
There's no shot that anybody but a low light comes and picks this up.
Yeah, we still need to find a real banana bread as well. We still only have 4 missions, even after this comes off.
There's considerations of like microphone potentially, but I think it's gonna be this contact. And Wheels is absolutely baiting us into losing this. There goes the clock. It is Rov with the loss, and what that means. Congratulations to Opiwrites for one, this hold on this really wacky veranda game, but more importantly, moving on to the finals yet again, but in this case with a lot of money in the line and a lot of good wins to get here. Opiwrites is our first finalist in the SpyParty Masters Championship.
Yep. Big congratulations for Opiwrites for winning this grueling set. And big congratulations to Rav as well for keeping the composure despite the early downside, the early hole, and really making a incredible match out of it. Rav still has the opportunity to pick up the third place finish here, and I think that's $200 for a third place finish. But uh, the story right now is Opiwrites going to the finals.
Yeah, and I mean, to both our players, really well played. There wasn't too much spectacular stuff. Like the most exciting thing is we're trying to find cough frames or something going on these last few sets. I can't imagine. We had Rov talking a lot, but an incredibly high amount of solid top level spy party. If Opie plays like that in the final, they have a good shot. If Rov plays like that in the third place match, I know they lost here. They have a good shot of getting another $100. So with that all out of the way, I think we do need to shout out that there is another match here later today. Do you have the exact timings on that, Sped?
I do, yep. It will be our second semifinal match of the day. to decide who Opie's opponent and Rov's opponent will be in their final matches. It will be Nebula versus Mini Oric, and that will be in about 2.5 hours, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time or 8:30 p.m. UTC. So if you're a Spy Party fan, show back up here at Spy Party Fans in 90 minutes, and we'll have that second match for you ready to go. Until then, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to Pone for casting with me here.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much to Wrestler for being behind the cameras on this one.
Glad to be here.
And with that, thank you all for watching. We'll see you back here in hour and a half. And until then, stay safe and be well.
GG's to both players. Fantastic set. Thank you for letting me cast it. GG's.